Hi, I'm Steve Wilson. I'm here to talk about our brand new premium collection called Bargellissimo. Now, we based this on a classic Bargello style, and I've always been fascinated with that style. And you can see the example, right here. And at first glance, this looks like we cut up, hundreds of little squares. And traditionally, that's how it was done. And they're different widths, different lengths, and then when they're put together, they form these, amazing geometric patterns. Now, when I read, years ago how to make one of these, I immediately set it aside and said, this is a lot of work. And it is a lot of work. It's a huge commitment if you did it in a traditional manner. There's a lot of measuring, and you can see that if you measured one little piece wrong, how none of this would fit together. So we thought there's got to be an easier way. So myself and the team at Anita Goodesign came up with a much easier way to do this, and you can create a Bargello quilt in literally a third of the time that you normally would without worrying about all the other stuff. So if I show you step by step here, how we do this, the first step is choosing your fabrics. So you see right here, I have the 5 different fabrics we're using. And the book that's included will tell you exactly how much of each fabric you need for the given project you're doing. There's 6 different Bargellissimo quilts in this collection. So we choose our fabric, and we do a really simple thing now. We label each fabric with a letter. So this is fabric A, fabric B, C, D, and E. So no matter what block I'm doing, no matter where I am in the design, those are always the fabric colors. Pretty simple. Now let's go to the embroidery part. Bargellissimo quilt is made with hundreds of little strips, and it's keeping track of those strips and where does each fabric go that we can easily get lost. And as you know, most projects are not done in one day, so we go back to these projects week after week, and it's really easy to mess things up and have them in the wrong order. So when you stitch, the first part, or your first design, you're gonna see a large rectangle, and right away it stitches A, B, C, D, and E right on the design. So if you recall, our fabric is labeled A, B, C, D, and E. So we know fabric A is gonna go here, B here, C there, and so on. So when we go to the next hooping here, I've already laid down the first piece of fabric A, and then using our stitch and fold technique, I did B, C, and you see still right here, I could see the letters for D and E. So that obviously says D is next, E is after that, and we fold them. Now you're probably seeing this big wide block with all these fabric layers. How does that get to be all those small rectangles? Here's the real unique part. When we get to this final block here before cutting, you'll see that number stitched. So each block is numbered. You'll see that in the book, you'll have this big fabric map that shows you all the designs that are numbered and where they go to form this pattern. So you see that they're numbered, and then you'll see all these lines that stitched down this block. So these lines are actually cutting lines. So when we remove this from the hoop, we trim our seam allowance around the outside, and then we cut right down these lines. And instead of one large block, I wind up with thin strips. So you can see from one hooping, you get 3 strips, 2 strips, sometimes 5 strips in one shot. So we're not hooping this one thing 5 times, we're actually getting 5 blocks out of one hooping. And then when they're done, we simply follow the numbers on them and stitch them together. And that's how you create a Bargellissimo quilt. It's very easy. And since the blocks remain numbered, once they're done, you could set them aside and come back to it next week, and you don't have to remember what block this is. So again, we know you're not doing this in one day. And if you have enough machines, I guess you probably can. But we know we do projects over time, and using this system, you can create these wonderful quilts. And they range in size from, say a placemat that we give you as a starter, all the way up into a much larger quilt. And the bigger ones can also be combined multiple times to form a bedspread or a larger piece. So right away, people see this collection and think it's gonna be really hard, but there's no measuring, there's no confusion, and there's really no way to mess this up because you make it at your own pace. So again, I hope you enjoy our Bargellissimo collection. It's available November 1st, and you will love creating these designs. We can't wait to see them. When you're done, send us a picture, we'll put it on our Facebook page.